friends, my name is Sarah. I'm the Nutrition Education Coordinator with Growing Gardens, and I am here today to share a fun lesson with you about food waste. I'm going to give you a couple of ideas about how to reduce food waste in your home and a recipe you could use to help with that. So the first thing we're going to do is read one of my favorite books, Tops and Bottoms. Here we go. Here we have Tops and Bottoms by Janet Stevens. Once upon a time, there lived a very lazy bear who had lots of money and lots of land. His father had been a hard worker and a smart business bear and had given all of his wealth to his son. But all Bear wanted to do was sleep. Not far down the road lived a hare. Although Hare was clever, he sometimes got into trouble. He had once owned land too, but now he had nothing. He had lost a very risky bet with a tortoise and had sold all of his land to Bear to pay off the debt. Hare and his family were in very bad shape. "The children are so hungry, Father Hare. We must think of something," Mrs. Hare cried one day. So Hare and Mrs. Hare put their heads together and cooked up a plan. The next day, Hare hopped down the road to Bear's house. Bear, of course, was asleep. "Hello, Bear, wake up, it's your neighbor Hare, and I have an idea." Bear opened one eye and grunted. "We can be business partners," Hare said. "All we need is this field right here in front of your house. I'll do the hard work of planting and harvesting, and we can split the profits right down the middle. Yes, sir, Bear, we're in this together. I'll work and you sleep." "Huh?" said Bear. "So what'll it be, Bear?" asked Hare. "The top half or the bottom half? It's up to you, tops or bottoms." Let's see," said Bear with a yawn. "I'll take the top half, Hare. Right, tops." Hare smiled. "It's a done deal, Bear." So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. Hare planted, Mrs. Hare watered, and everyone weeded. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! You get the tops and I get the bottoms." Hare and his family dug up the carrots, the radishes, and the beets. Hare plucked off the tops, tossed them into a pile for Bear, and put the bottoms aside for himself. Bear stared at his pile. "But Hare, all the best parts are in your half." "You chose the tops, Bear," said Hare. "Now, Hare, you've tricked me. You plant this field again, and this season I want the bottoms." Hare agreed. "It's a done deal, Bear." So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! You get the bottoms and I get the tops." Hare and his family gathered up the lettuce, the broccoli, and the celery. Hare pulled off the bottoms for Bear and put the tops in his own pile. Bear looked at his pile and scowled. "Hare, you have cheated me again." "But Bear," said Hare, "you wanted the bottoms this time." Bear growled. "You plant this field again, Hare. You've tricked me twice, and you owe me one season of both tops and bottoms." "You're right, poor old Bear," sighed Hare. "It's only fair that you get both tops and bottoms this time. It's a done deal, Bear." So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded, then watered and weeded some more. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! This time you get the tops and the bottoms." There, in front of Bear's house, lay a high field of corn. Hare and his family yanked up every cornstalk. Hare tugged off the roots at the bottom and the tassels at the top and put them in a pile for Bear. Then he carefully collected the ears of corn in the middle and placed them in his own pile. Bear rubbed his eyes and watched. See, Bear, you get the tops and the bottoms. I get the middles. Yes, sir, Bear, it's a done deal. By now, Bear was wide awake. That's it, Hare, he hollered. From now on, I'll plant my own crops and take the tops, bottoms, and middles. Hare and his family scooped up all the corn and hopped down the road towards home. Bear never again slept through a season of planting and harvesting. Hare bought back his land with the profit from the crops, and he and Mrs. Hare opened a vegetable stand. And although Hare and Bear learned to live happily as neighbors, they never became business partners again. The end. All right, we are back. We just finished this lovely book, Tops and Bottoms. In this book, Hare kept tricking Bear into keeping the good parts for himself and giving Bear the not so good or inedible parts to Bear. But I wanted to talk about that because there are some foods in here that Hare and Bear thought that you couldn't eat, but that you totally can eat. And that is relevant for us today because we are talking about ways to reduce food waste. And if you are eating more parts of the plant, then you are reducing the amount of food that might go into your compost bin or might go into your trash can. So I have a couple of ideas for ways that you might be able to reduce food waste in your house by eating more parts of the plant. So I've got some chard right here, chard and most leafy greens. You usually eat the green part up here. You can also totally eat all of the stem too. So chard, kale, all of those things, eat that whole part. I over here have apple and potato. Both of these, some people eat the peel, some people don't. You should absolutely always totally eat the peel. Not only will you reduce the amount of food that you are wasting or that is going into your trash can, but you also are getting so many more nutrients. Apples and potatoes both have lots of fiber in their skin, and if you don't eat those, then you're missing out on those really great nutrients. I also have a lemon right here, and we totally have used the inside of the lemon. We like to use the lemon juice. There are some recipes that also call for lemon zest, so that is one way to use just a little bit more of that lemon. And then I also have a head of broccoli. We like to eat the floral parts up here at the top, but we also can eat the entire stem. It's really crunchy and super tasty. You could cut it up and use it like carrot dipping sticks, or it could go into a cooked recipe, go into some kind of saute, also very, very tasty. I have right here some strawberries. You can eat not only the red juicy part of the strawberry, you can also eat the leaves of the strawberry. So these leaves are edible and also have lots of nutrients. They especially have lots of fiber in them, which is a really great thing for you to have in your diet. So you could eat those as well. And then I also have here a carrot. We usually eat the orange root of the carrot, the part that grows below ground. Our ground would be about right here, and then we've got these big green leaves that grow above the ground. We can also eat those. They go really, really well in pesto, which we'll be making in just a minute. They also are just really tasty sauteed. You can also eat them plain, but eating all of these big leafy green things instead of putting them into the compost really makes me happy. You can also eat the greens of things like beets and radishes. They can go into things like pesto as well. So those are all of the food examples that I have of parts that you can eat that you might not always think to eat. Other ways you can reduce food waste in your home, you can only take what you are going to eat at dinner. So instead of getting a plate and piling really, really high of everything and then only eating a little bit, you can get just what you plan to eat. You can always go back for a little bit more, but that means whatever is left over can go into your refrigerator as leftovers instead of going into your compost or into your waste bin. So that is another really great way to reduce food waste and also to be very mindful of the food that you are eating. So I also have right here a pineapple, and this pineapple, it's looking a little rough. It's been sitting on my counter for a little bit too long, and when I cut it open, it's going to be super, super sweet, maybe have a couple of brown spots, I'm not sure yet. And I might not want to just eat that plain, but that doesn't mean I can't use it for other things. Pineapple like this, when it's getting a little bit older, and the same goes for lots of fruit, can go into smoothies and it'll be really sweet and delicious. It is a perfect smoothie pineapple. I also have right here a bag of very brown and frozen bananas. Now these bananas sat on my counter for a long time and I forgot to use them, so I thought I would put them in the freezer until I had time later. So now I'm not gonna eat these bananas plain anymore, but very overripe bananas are a really excellent ingredient for things like banana bread. So there are some things that you can save for later. You can freeze them when you've got time to use them. So those are all of my ideas for ways to reduce food waste in your home, but I'm sure that you could think of so many more, and I challenge you to do so. But next, like I said, we are going to talk a little bit more about this carrot. We are going to make a delicious pesto recipe, so you've got a way to use all of these leafy greens that you don't typically use. So we were just talking about ways to reduce food waste in your home, and one of the things we talked about is eating parts of the plant that you don't always think to eat, and one big example was carrot tops. We usually just eat the root of the carrot, but they also have these big, beautiful green tops, and they are very tasty and go really well in pesto. So we are going to make a pretty simple pesto recipe today. Right here, I've got my carrots and their tops. I'll use the tops for the pesto, and then I will use the roots and cut them into sticks so I can dip into my pesto for a really yummy snack. I also have a lemon. We'll use some lemon juice to give it some zest. We have some garlic over here that will also give it some really nice flavor. I've got salt and pepper, which are used in so many recipes just to bring out those really tasty flavors you're already putting in there. I have right here, this stuff is called nutritional yeast. Traditional pesto recipes will use pine nuts or any other kind of nut and Parmesan cheese, but to make sure that all of our friends can enjoy this recipe, we like to demonstrate nutritional yeast as a substitute for those so that everybody can try it. But if you do make this at home, you can add whatever ingredients you want. So we've got that, and then last ingredient we've got here is olive oil. This will make our pesto nice and creamy and delicious and just kind of make everything smooth and work really well together. So to get started, I am going to need 4 cups of carrot tops. So I'm going to come over here and cut the top off of my carrot. And I'm actually going to save this top for later. We've got a different activity that we can do with these friends here. So I'm going to cut the top off there, and then I'm going to put all of my leaves into this measuring cup. And there we have our 4 cups of carrot tops. We're going to save this one for later just in case we want a little bit extra. All of these scraps can go into our compost. And then these friends here we will save for a different activity in a little bit. All right, so now I've got our carrot tops and we can move on to our lemon juice. Ooh, really put this there. So we're going to cut our lemon in half, and remember, please do ask for the assistance of an adult when using a knife. I want to be very careful. And then I can use my lemon juicer. I need the juice of 1/2 of a lemon, so I'll just do this 1/2 here. This tool is really nice and very helpful for getting all of the juice out of that lemon. So there is our lemon juice. We've already got our nutritional yeast ready. Ooh, we need our garlic. So over here with our garlic, we can pull off 1 clove. That's all we'll need for this recipe. And one really good tip for peeling garlic is taking the flat side of a knife and crushing it like that. And this is another step that you should definitely ask an adult's assistance for. So you've got our 1 clove of garlic here, and now we are ready to start adding things to our food processor. Now, you can use a food processor if you have one. A blender also works very well. All right, so now, like I said, it's time to start adding our ingredients. So I'm going to add our 4 cups of carrot tops right in there. Our juice from 1/2 of the lemon can go in there. I need 3 or 4 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. So I'll put 1, 2, and 3 in. You can always add more if you feel like it needs it, but it's very hard to take stuff away. So next I'm going to add our clove of garlic right in here. I need about 1/4 teaspoon of salt sprinkled around there and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper as well. Now, if you do not like salt or pepper, you can always add less and add more in later. And the last ingredient we will need is our olive oil. So I'm going to pour about 1/2 cup of olive oil in here. And put this into our food processor too. And now we are ready to go. Ready and on. And after we let that blend for just a little bit, it's good to open it up, take a spatula, and scrape the sides down so that you're making sure to get all of the parts nice and blended in there. And then we can put our top back on, blend it one more time. Here we go. Let's see how it looks. Ooh, looking pretty good in there. Got my spoon right here so I can get one little sample out, and very tasty. So like I said before, you can cut up the carrots so that these sticks can now be used to dip right into our pesto for a very tasty and delicious snack. So we have covered a lot today. We read a book, we talked about ways to reduce food waste in your home, we made a really tasty carrot top pesto, and the last thing I have to share with you is how you can regrow some foods in your kitchen. So right here, I've got a couple of examples. There are certain foods that will keep growing after most of them have been used. I have some scallions right here, scallions or green onions. You usually use most of this part all the way up through the tops. We don't usually use these root bits, but if you were to cut them off, use what you would normally, and then put these into some water, in a couple of days, new green parts will start coming up out of there. So that is our first food that can be regrown in your kitchen. That also works for things like leeks too. So the other things I've got here, I've got the carrot tops that we used earlier from our pesto recipe. Similar idea, you can put these carrot tops into a little bit of water and they will start to grow more greens. You won't get more roots, but you will see more green parts growing. The last one is lettuce. Oops. So I have this head of lettuce right here, and I am going to have a salad later today, so I'm going to go ahead and cut off this bottom bit. And I've got my lettuce right there. I can put all of my greens into my salad bowl for a little bit later, and I can take the base of my head of lettuce, put it into a bowl of water, and that will also start regrowing pretty soon. You'll get some more leaves coming off of that. So you'll get some carrot tops, some lettuce, and some scallions or green onions. There are lots of other things that you can regrow in your kitchen as well. These are the ones that will regrow the fastest. So my friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you can think of more and more ways to reduce food waste in your home. And I hope that you try something new. Maybe try to grow some more veggies, maybe eat different parts of the plant, whatever it might be. Hopefully all those ways will help you reduce food waste. Thanks so much for joining me.